Brothers and sisters, welcome back. This is the In My Grow Show, the podcast dedicated to taking the mystery out of cannabis. I'm your host, Alex, and I want to welcome you to the first video episode of the show. We're trying it out. We're going to see how this works. This is going to be more than likely the new way forward. We are recording outside today. Again, it's a beautiful day. We decided why not. So you probably will have some background noise. This is going to be a total learning experience. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. And I want to thank our sponsor, 101cbd.org. This right here, this is the bacon flavor for my dog Dante. See this? This is an empty bottle. I need to go get more. Mostly because we give it to him every day. And secondly, yesterday was the 4th of July, so we gave him a little extra just to keep him calm during the fireworks that was happening in every neighborhood around America. Since all other public fireworks were canceled, we had to celebrate it somehow. Anyways, completely off topic. Little more CBD really helped keep him calm. And then this right here, this is the travel size of the Chilex blend, the Tropical Bliss flavor. This is a really good flavor. I like it. You should check it out. And you can order yourself some full spectrum raw CBD oil products from 101cbd.org. Go over there, take a look at their products, take a look at what they've got. Pick yourself out some nice raw CBD oil. And don't forget to use coupon code IMGS25 to get 25% off of that order. And a little later, actually, we are going to have Justin Benton on to talk about a few things. But before that, I want to make I need to make a correction. Last week, I was talking about Dr. Lester Grinspoon, but I kept calling him Dr. Ginspoon. Occasionally I'm going to be pausing because of traffic, and I'll just go back and edit that out. But like I was saying, last week I was talking about Dr. Lester Grinspoon. He wrote the book Marijuana Reconsidered. Last week, for whatever reason, my brain wouldn't let me call him by his actual name. I kept calling him Dr. Ginspoon. Ginspoon is not his name. It is Grinspoon, Grinspoon. Lester Grinspoon. All right. So also a little later in this episode, I did go ahead and make a cannabis seed germination tutorial. It's just a quick video. It's just a quick video on a couple of different ways that I've germinated seeds and the way I germinate seeds now. So so hang out and check that out. You know what? I was talking to my buddy Rodney about that. And he saw the video, and then he asked me about, and I told him because I was going to put it up on the podcast, and he told me, that I should make it more descriptive because not everyone's going to see the video version of it. I didn't realize that. I didn't think about that. So please, I encourage you, go over to the website, inmygrow.com, look for the episode so you can see the video version of it. Because, I didn't even think about having to be more descriptive about it. So it makes more sense if you go and find the video episode, or just search for the In My Grow Show with Alex on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then you can watch the video from there. And probably, more than likely, after a couple of weeks, I'll go ahead and put that up as a standalone video on YouTube as well. But anyways, there is a little video tutorial on germination. That's where I was. Now, another thing I want to talk about is I was at the hardware store a few days ago. I had to go get a garbage disposal. My garbage disposal went kaput. So behind the cashier, you know how sometimes they'll have those little fold-out, some little tri-fold-out pamphlets for like local birds or native plants. This is what my hardware store had, which I was kind of shocked. I was surprised. And it says, Cannabis, a guide to common and exotic strains. And this is what made me look at it, because I saw this poking out from behind the cashier. It's like behind her, just poking out. I was looking at it. And it's a really cool fold out, man. It folds out, and it has some common strains, I guess. There's about 80 of them on here. front and back. You know, front and back. Super cool. Super cool. It was put together by a guy named Randy Boyce and Sean Moore. You know, and it's got some of the really, like they said, common ones. You know, Gorilla Glue, Granddaddy Purple. And there's a fire truck in the background. I'm gonna push pause. All right, it seems like the fire truck noise has gone by. So like I was saying, this little fold out has, you know, some very common, very well-known strains. You know, they got the Afghani, they got the Granddaddy Purple. But here's the weird thing. They didn't have the Girl Scout cookie, which is pretty common around here in California. A lot of people like it. They didn't have that on here, but they had variations of the Girl Scout cookie. And the same thing went with the Sour Diesel. They didn't have Sour Diesel as a strain itself, but they had variations of Sour Diesel, which, yeah, I just didn't get, man. I couldn't understand. Why would you have a variation of something like the Girl Scout cookies? There's no Girl Scout cookies, but there is a cookies and cream, which is a cross between the Starfighter and the Girl Scout cookie phenotype. You know, or let's see, like the another one is the Long Valley Royal Kush, which is a cross between the Sour Diesel and the Gabriel Valley Purple Kush and the Highland Afghani. Anyways, I don't know, it just seemed odd. So, you know, it just goes to show you that this is really cool. And, you know, it's filled with a lot of common strains that you would mostly see around. But, you know, common for some people is uncommon for others. Who knows, man? Hey, look, there's the SFVOG. I just had that a couple weeks ago. But, yeah, anyways, I just wanted to share that with you. That was kind of a trip to find. It was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool, you know, fold out, man. And I'm sitting out here just smoking a bowl. You know, it's a cool thing to thumb through. You know, I don't know. Check it out. Let's see, it was put together by, and it's waterproof too, but it was put together by Quick Reference Publishing, made in the USA. Woohoo! All right, I think it's time now. Okay, so now it is time for the report from the Cannabis Front Line. And today we're going to talk about the Wedding Crasher. Ooh, hey, I like video, man. Everybody gets visual aids. So here's the Wedding Crasher that I picked up. I don't know if you can see that. Ooh, let's see if that works. Maybe. I don't know if that focused. But anyways, Wedding Crasher. Let's see. My notes say... Let's look at my notes here. Wedding Crasher is a cross between the wedding cake and the purple punch. It has a smooth vanilla frosting flavor. Probably from the wedding cake, huh? With a really sweet, fruity kind of grape taste, which comes from the purple punch. Now, it does also have this, to me anyways, this kind of dirty earth, well, more like a wet dirt type of taste to it. And a little fuely, a little gassy too, which was pretty awesome. So it made it taste, yeah, a little funky, a little dirty. You know, like a berries and gas, or berries and diesel, kinda. But you know what? The high was really good. I really did like the high. It seemed to be a really heavy hitter. Don't go over to a lightweight and say, here, have this, and then walk away. The poor person's just gonna be all stunned. Anyways, really nice high, really elevated. The only thing I did notice about it, I'll tell you this. It gave me the munchies like you wouldn't believe. Oh my God, there wasn't enough ice cream in the house. But really good high. The come down was a little quick. You might crash. I needed a nap a couple of times, but what are you gonna do? So would I get this again, the Wedding Crasher? Maybe. Yeah, why not? I'd get it again. Depends on who I'm going to hang out with. This is a good bud to hang out with though. But depending on who I'm hanging out with, I'd get more Wedding Crasher. So if you see it out there in the wild somewhere, out there on one of those really nice dispensary shelves, or if you're a legacy market person, black market person, still has some, pick some up, man. Pretty good. Okay, now let's do the report from the Cannabis Front Line. And the first couple of articles are coming from Normal, that is normal.org. Go over there, get educated, and then become a member. I don't know why there was a dramatic pause there. I think I lost my words. All right. First article starts off, District Attorney ceases low-level marijuana prosecutions. The Office of the District Attorney of Davidson County, which includes the city of Nashville, has announced that it will immediately cease prosecuting low-level marijuana possession offenses. Yeah. In a statement issued yesterday, the District Attorney Glenn Funk, that's a cool name, right? Funk, come on. Yeah, it's a bitchin' name. Anyways, where was I? Glenn Funk. He said that activities involving the possession of up to 1/2 an ounce of cannabis would no longer be prosecuted by county officials. Marijuana charges do little to promote public health and even less to promote public safety, he said. 1/2 an ounce, everybody. Nashville just got a lot more fun. I've never been to Nashville, but I've heard very, very great things about it. I can't wait to go. The district attorney further opined that marijuana law enforcement has disproportionately impacted people of color. The policy change will reprioritize funding and resources towards the prosecution of more serious crimes, he added. Well, there you go. That's awesome, man. Have the police deal with more actual criminality instead of just like low-level drug possession? Really? I think it's a good idea. Nashville, like I said, got a lot more fun. All right, now let's go to next one comes out of Virginia. Kind of the same story. Again, comes from Normal, and this is titled Marijuana Decriminalization Takes Effect on Wednesday, July 1st. Richmond, Virginia legislation passed this spring decriminalizing marijuana possession offenses and sealing the records of past convictions from public view takes effect on Wednesday, July 1st, 2020. Under the new law, activities involving the possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana are classified as a civil, not criminal offense, punishable by a $25 fine, no arrest, and no criminal record. Such activities had previously been classified as a criminal misdemeanor, punishable by a 30-day stay in jail, a criminal record, and possibly losing your driving privileges. That's pretty cool in Virginia. Wow, it used to lose your license if you'd be even caught with, I don't know how much, a joint maybe? I'm not sure. You know, I didn't look into it. But that's awesome. You only get a $25 fine, and it doesn't go on your record. And that started July 1st. Everybody in Virginia, you should celebrate that fact, especially if you're a fan of cannabis. Good on you, Virginia. That sounds awesome. Isn't Virginia for lovers? Or is that South Carolina? I think it's Virginia. I don't know. All right, and finally, this is a weird, odd little story that I found about just culture. Kind of a trip. Comes out of the marijuana moment. The title is HBO teams up with marijuana company to sell THC gummies promoting a new TV series. And this was put together by Kyle Yeager. HBO is partnering up with major marijuana businesses to market a line of promotional cannabis edible gummies meant to bring attention to an animated series premiering next week, the entertainment giant announced on Monday. So for whatever reason, HBO is putting out these THC gummy packages to certain dispensaries. I don't even know if they're like nationwide. Maybe it's just in California. I don't even know. It says here each package is each gummy is 10 milligrams. Because I think that's our proportion out here in California. Each, bit of edible has to be 10 milligrams of THC. Let's see, who are they doing it with? HBO is teaming up with Cannabis Company. Okay. It says here, wait, what is the name of the show? The name of the show is called Close Enough. So the crazy thing is here is that, from what I've read, the show really isn't even about weed. It's just about this to this couple of young, parents, and everything they go through to just to, being, I don't know, young adults, young people in America, young people with a family. I guess it's just illustrating, or HBO has helped normalizing the fact that everybody needs a little bit of weed in their life. Not everybody. Not everybody. Some people shouldn't have any weed in their life. Some people can't handle even a little bit of weed. Even a little bit of weed. No, but whatever. Anyways, I'm getting way off topic. I thought it was just a trippy thing to see. I don't know. Yeah, man. Good for HBO. Good for normalizing the whole thing. Let's introduce some gummies. Hey, it's time for that show. Let's get some gummies and laugh. Good times. I like it. I like it. And that, brothers and sisters, is the report from the Cannabis Frontline. There are links in the show notes to all of these articles, so you can read at your leisure, and let me know what you think. All right, now, next up is that video tutorial on the different ways I've learned to germinate cannabis seeds. So hang out for a bit. That video is only a few minutes long, 5-10 minutes. No, it's not 10. It's like 5-7 minutes. Anyways, yeah, man, hang out, watch the video, and then I'll be back. All right. Hey, what's happening, everyone? So, like I mentioned earlier, right now I want to talk a little bit about some of the different techniques I've used to germinate cannabis seeds. And typically, I have about a 70% success rate. Out of a 10-pack of seeds, if I try and germinate all 10 of them, about 7 of those 10 will sprout up as nice-looking seedlings. Now, the first technique I want to talk about is the paper towel in a plastic bag method. And you're going to need a half-sheet paper towel. Half a sheet, and a Ziploc sandwich bag. So typically what I'll do is I'll get that half sheet and I'll fold it in half itself, so it's like that, and wet it thoroughly, get it nice and wet. And then I'll take my seeds, depending on how many I'm doing. Like right now it looks like I'm going to do about 6 of them right here. I'll put the seeds down inside the paper towel, make sure they don't touch, and then fold it up just like that. And then I'm going to slide that into the Ziploc bag. It's going to look like that. And before I zip it up, I want to make sure there's some air in it, because I want to create like a mini greenhouse for them. So I'll seal it up, and it's going to look like a little pillow there, And I typically leave them in there about 4 days. But at about day 2, I'll check them, mostly just because I'm curious to see what they look like. But at about the 2nd day, there's the tiniest of taproot coming out. And by day 4, it's a nice long taproot coming out. You're going to be surprised. Now, another technique that I've used still uses the paper towel and plastic bag method, except it has one more step. I would soak my seeds in some water for about 2 days. And I would just get some regular, purified drinking water, and pour my seeds in. And as I said, I wouldn't soak them any more than 2 days. Any more than that time, and we run the risk of the seeds getting waterlogged and possibly, not being very strong seedlings. So after about 2 days, I would take the seedlings in the water, and I would pour them into the paper towel. So at the same time, the paper towel is getting wet really carefully, and I'd pour them over a bowl, just in case it overfloods and they come pouring out. You don't lose them on the ground or on the counter or anything. They're landing inside a bowl. And then again, I would close up the paper towel and just slide it into the plastic bag. And I would leave them in there for no more than 2 days, mostly because after about 2 days, it's got a nice long taproot also, which was a good thing. That I don't do it like that anymore, and that's mostly because of that long taproot. Sometimes, because that taproot was so long and it's so delicate, I would have to use tweezers to have to move them around and get them into the soil. If the hole that I made for the soil for the taproot wasn't big enough, I'd run the risk of like jamming that taproot inside the soil and possibly doing damage to that taproot, and then, again, that seedling probably won't sprout because of that. So what I do now is mostly I just use a cup of water. Like I said, it's just, purified drinking water. It's about 1.5 inches. What I'll do is I'll take my seeds You know, and right here I've got about 6 seeds of the cool one. This is the strain that I made myself. I'll just go ahead and plop them in there. And, you know, I'll give it a little swirl. You know, and most of the time, majority of the time, you're going to see the seeds floating. And that's okay. Some of them will sink, but most of the time you'll see them float, and that's all right. And I'm going to leave those seeds in there for anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. Again, I don't want to leave them longer than 48 hours in there because I don't want those seeds to get waterlogged. After about 24 hours, I'll see about the smallest little taproot coming out. And after 48 hours, then it'll be a much larger taproot. But typically, I'll leave them in there about 24, 36 hours. You know, about a day and a half. And every so often I'll come back to the cup and see if, any of the seeds have sunk. You know, I kind of want those seeds to sink. It's all right if they don't. But every once in a while I'll give it a little swirl. Or I'll just go and poke it. Again, if they don't sink, that's okay because they're still getting enough water. So like I was saying, after 24 hours with that small little taproot, I'll take it out and I'll go ahead and put them in some soil directly. I won't even put them in a paper towel in the plastic bag. So I'll be back here in a little bit to show you how I'm going to put those little seedlings with taproots in soil. Now, when you set your seeds to soak, I would put them inside the house and find a nice dark spot for them. Maybe underneath a kitchen or a bathroom cabinet. If you can't find a dark spot for them, don't worry about it too much because, you know, you can always like take an envelope, you know, cover it that way, or maybe even, you know, a napkin. And when you do it, don't use a clear plastic party cup. I just used it for instructional purposes. And I suggest putting it inside because it's happened to me before where I've left seeds soaking outside on my workbench. And it seems like those cool late night and early morning temperatures seem to slow down the process. So that's why I suggest you put them inside. So it's been about 36 hours and it looks like all 6 of my seeds are showing signs of a taproot. So let's go ahead and get them in some soil. So I went ahead and poured most of the water out of the cup that had the seed soaking in it. And I'm going to go ahead and pour the rest of it inside this bowl with a paper towel. Then I'm going to use my tweezers. Since there is a little bit of a taproot, I don't want to damage that taproot by trying to grab it with my big fingers. I'm going to use my tweezers to put the seed inside a cup of some soil. And hopefully they all come out in one fell swoop. Let's give it a little swirl, make sure none of them stick. All right, they all came out. Let me show you what that looks like, huh? There they are, all 6 of them, just sitting there. So now we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Before I put these seeds that have already been soaking for 36 hours into the soil, we're going to talk about the most basic way to germinate, and that is just directly into soil. The easiest way that I found to do it is to get a party cup, and you're going to want to cut a couple of slits at the bottom as like drain holes. Just ever so slightly, just shave that end off. And then cut the drain holes in so any extra water has somewhere to go. That way it doesn't collect at the bottom and the plant sits in water, because that's not healthy for it either. That could cause problems also. Now the soil, you're going to want to keep it moist, not wet. Okay? That's a big difference. Again, you don't want to overwater anything. Just want to keep it moist. Once a day, you're going to sprinkle some purified drinking water over it. Again, just to moisten the soil for the seed and the seedling. Now, when you germinate directly into soil, it could take anywhere from 4 to 10 days before you see a seedling sprout up. So remember that, you know, because you may get impatient and you may be tempted to like scoot the soil away just to see how it's doing. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. You're going to either stunt it, something may go wrong, you may mess with it. Don't do it. Let nature do its thing. If you didn't plant it too deep, it should come up, should be fine. Okay? Now, I'm going to use a chopstick to make that 3mm little divot in there for my seed to go in. And I use a chopstick because it's new and it's clean. Whatever you use, make sure it's clean. The next thing I'm going to do is get my clean tweezers. Get a nice, which one looks good? This one right here looks good. I'm going to plop it on in there. take a look at it, huh? There she is right there. And I'm just going to cover her just a little bit with soil, not too deep. Like I said, 2 to 4 millimeters, just the length of the seed itself. That's as deep as you want it in the soil. Now I went ahead and covered the seed with soil. And like I said, every day I'm going to come back, sprinkle just a little bit of purified drinking water over her, just to keep the soil moist, not wet. We don't want it wet, just want it moist. And since the seed was soaking for about 36 hours, in about 4 days, I should see a seedling spring up. Hey, one more thing before I go. Don't forget to label your cup. Name of strain, the cool one, and the date. The date's really important because it's going to help you keep track of where your seedling is. Okay, well, I'll talk to you guys later. So yeah, there you go. That's how I germinate seeds now. Maybe it'll change next season. Maybe it'll change next week. Maybe it'll be like that for years. I don't know. It all depends if I find a different way. Oh, but by the way, check it out. So this is one of those seedlings. Let's see. It is the 29th. Ooh, look, there it is. Look, dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Today's the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. 5th? 5th? Yes, today's the 5th. So 29, 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. 6 days plus 2 days in water. Give or take, you know, day and a half. 2 days in water. It's about 7, 8 days for a little seedling. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So, like I said earlier, next up is an interview that I had with Justin Benton from 101 CBD. Invited him on to talk about a couple of things. One is a CBD liver enzyme study that's about to start. I was curious about his thoughts on that, and also about just, you know, more states moving to carrying CBD products in cannabis dispensaries. I know out here in California it's a big issue. So, you know, I just wanted to get his thoughts on it. Again, we were both recording outside, and there is quite a bit of background noise. There's some background noise. I did my best to edit it out. But stick around. It's a really good interview, man. It's a good time. And yeah, I'm going to put that on for you right now. Give me just a few moments. Brothers and sisters, check it out. This is the first video episode of the In My Grow Show podcast. And once again with us, after the 7th time, is Justin, the cannabis guy, Benton from 101 CBD. Justin, brother, welcome to the show once again. Thank you for doing this video show with me, man. I appreciate it.
Hey now, good to see everybody, like literally see everybody. So, and I didn't bring my smoking jacket on, but I think it's still coming FedEx.
I think we had to return it. We had the wrong size for you, but we sent you a size too big.
There you go. I'm a 48 regular.
48 regular. You got it, man. Hey, man. So, yeah, I want to talk to you about a couple of different things that's going on in the little CBD world, not just CBD, but cannabis world. There's a headline in the MJ Biz Daily about different states moving towards allowing CBD to be sold in cannabis dispensaries. And I know that California, I know you were involved with kind of the same regulation earlier this year that kind of failed for a few different reasons, man. So can you catch us up on what's going on with that?
Absolutely. So once again, you know, I know we've touched on this a few times in the past, but it's part of the California Hemp Council based out of Sacramento. Patrick Goggin, who's been on a few times, he's actually the general counsel, lead counsel for the organization. And we help defend the farmer and, you know, all of the best interests for hemp up in Sacramento. And so last year we had a bill called AB 228 that was scheduled. It was flying through all the subcommittees in the California State Assembly. We were just, you know, cooking with gas. And, you know, we were just trying to make sure that it was regulated and CBD could be in food. And it was just really clear how we were going to operate in California with CBD, because there was some confusion by some frequently asked questions, things that came out by the California Health Department. And so we got a little greedy at the end. And why wouldn't we be? Because everywhere we went, we were getting yeses and applauds and pats on the back and everything was going great. So we said, well, hey, let's not just address the CBD and food issue and the regulations for like GMP standards. Let's go ahead and make sure that, hey now, let's go ahead and make sure that we can also sell our hemp-based CBD products in dispensaries. Well, the dispensaries caught wind of it and they were not cool with it. You know, it really comes down to like competition. You know, they didn't want more products coming onto their shelves that didn't go through the highly regulated, extremely expensive cannabis channel, which makes sense. So they kind of threw a monkey in the wrench, and then push came to shove. They had to push the bill back to the next year. So we've what's called bifurcated the bill, which is we're just going to focus on just CBD in the food and make sure it's all regulated like other states, and then past that. And then we still might go back for the hemp-derived CBD in dispensaries in California, like just passed in Colorado and Illinois and a dozen or so other states, because it should be. It really just comes down to everyone getting on the same page, everyone agreeing on the testing principles, emulations, and everyone coming together. We're fighting over scraps. Everyone's trying to like be the king of the anthill. We need to build, you know, in abundance, build the plan up, get everybody to the party, and then we could worry about marketing and competitive differentiation at a later time. You know, we really need to come together. It's all the same plant, and just be positive and be supportive of each other, because it really is all the same plant. We're pushing to get THC regulation up to 1%. Doug Fine and a lot of us others are really pushing for that as well. And if you know, we all know federal cannabisation legalization could happen, you know, January 1st, 2021. So there's a lot of moving parts. So we just need all of us that are in this and are blessed enough to call the hemp cannabis plant our partner need to collaborate, work together, and you know, we can get there as long as we're collaborating with each other.
Yeah, hopefully, but there are some like policy differences that have to be hammered out before. I mean, I could see the cannabis industry, especially the dispensary industry, well, most aspects of the cannabis industry, where, like I said, things have to be straightened out, because there is certain regulations that the hemp industry doesn't have to really contend with, like seed to sale tracking, if I understand correctly, and also just the high cost of regulation. I mean, if we can, and like I said, those are all policy issues that can be worked out. I mean, if we can bring the cost of regulation down for cannabis to where it's not such a burden, you know, and again, I think that's one way, because I think once all those things are equal, I think the cannabis hemp industry, just like the sister plants that they represent, man, we can all move forward, you know, to tackle bigger issues in the industry.
Absolutely. And remember, we're testing, there are some different lanes, because hemp is a, you know, a supplement, and we don't have to track seed to sale, because you don't have to track every seed that you bought an apple from either. So there are different paths, different lanes. And I agree, yes, cannabis is way overregulated and way overtaxed. And we're hopeful that we can get those burdens down with federal legalization. That would certainly be something that is an opportunity for that as well. But at the same time, you know, we're all, you know, there's other states that have figured this out. Colorado always kicks our butt, California, in showing us, yes, this is the path. You know, as California being a nation state, we're like the largest gross national product in the world, gross domestic product in the world. So everything moves a little slower here. We're like a Carnival cruise ship to maybe other states are like Miami Vice speedboats. And so there's just a lot more people that need to be signed off on in California. So we just need to know we'll get there. And I'm very confident we are going to get there. And if you have some issues about competition or regulation, then I encourage you to not try and pick a fight and clash, but come together. Reach out to me, reach out to California Hemp Council, reach out to Patrick Goggin. Let's have a talk. Let's all get on the same page, because at the end of the day, we're all here for the same reasons, right? Because the plant helps people. And one way or the other, whether it's medicine or recreation, it helps people. So let's all support the plant and get on the same page.
Hey, so you have a retail store in Colorado. How did Colorado like kind of merge those two ideas as far as the hemp and the cannabis in dispensaries? Did they have to
Well,
change? I mean, how many things changed?
nothing. Again, because we're talking about two separate things. So it's like you're selling, apples at the dispensary versus cannabis, because we're talking about hemp is a commodity, is a vegetation, is something that was legalized through the Farm Bill. So it's a completely separate lane. There's the cannabis lane and there's the natural supplement lane. And so
Right, and
they just
and
yeah.
yeah, and I understand that, and I think that's where a lot of cannabis companies are really upset, or at least upset with the policies for hemp, is because there are these lower restrictions for hemp. Again, no, and I understand it's a different kind of lane. Cannabinoids are in different amounts for each plant.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's the thing, is getting past, is just having a more rational conversation about it. But again,
Well,
so
CBD doesn't. Yeah, I would say
so
CBD doesn't get you high. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about a plant that is used for recreational intoxication for people that are over the age of 21. CBD is not that way. It does not need, just like alcohol. We're not talking about something that people are using that need to be of a certain age to take it for recreational, responsible adult use. We are talking about a plant that helps people with aches and pains, like, you know, ibuprofen or lavender oil. So they're completely separate things. I know they're the same plant, but we're all talking about one cannabinoid now. We're talking about THC. And if you go above 0.3, yes, it is federally, has to be, all the regulations with the state and cannabis control board, all that has to be hashed out. But when you're below 0.3, it's a completely different animal. It's completely federally legal. THC is not federally legal. Those are the big majors, changes that can easily be worked through. And the good news is many other states have already worked through them. We are, behind, but we're hopeful that we catch up here in California.
yeah, and I think some of that being behind has to do with the regulation that dispensaries, in order for them to actually sell CBD products, they have to be derived from cannabis. They can't be derived from commercial hemp, and they have to be, if I remember correctly, I may be wrong, but I believe they have to be over 3% THC. So again,
I've seen
I
some
think
in there
that's
that are around 1. I've seen some that are around 1%. I've gone up to the local dispensaries up in Ojai. So again, it does completely come down to the THC factor. That's all that we're talking about here. Cannabis, marijuana is considered above 0.3. Hemp, cannabis is considered below 0.3% THC. So completely similar plants, but one is for recreation, one is regulated as a THC product, and the other is for CBD and all the other cannabinoids. And we'll get there. I'm very confident that we will. I think we'll get there in the next couple months based on the information I'm hearing.
so. Just walk me through it. Then paint me a picture. What is that? Does that model really? Hold on, motorcycle going by. My neighborhood loves Harleys.
It's the weekend. We got some down here at the beach too.
Oh yeah, at the beach. Oh, you're gonna hear them all day long.
Yep.
I have to turn my mic off during. All right. What was I saying? See, I totally lost it.
It's all good. We were just talking about we're gonna get there.
So yeah, but what is that? I mean, paint me a picture. What does that model look like in Colorado? As far did any regulations really change, or Colorado just said, you know what, we're going to allow it? And, was there any kind of pushback from dispensaries or cultivators because of it that you remember?
Of course, because remember, it's like the people that jump through all the hoops to get, they had to go through a lot of hoops when it comes to regulation and licenses and everything. I understand where they're coming from. They're like, man, I had to spend, $100,000 plus to get into this industry. And then all of a sudden in 2018, they make it legal for any farmer to it, which is great because it's a lot more than CBD, which we can talk about later with the hemp plant. But yeah, it's competitive advantage. You know what I mean? They got themselves into this particular industry at a higher cost, and now there's a lower entry right now for CBD. And so they're kind of, defending their turf. But at the end of the day, what Colorado did, and Illinois and a dozen other states, Oregon, is they said they came together and they talked about it, and they got on the same page when it came down to testing and regulation, which we're doing in California. And then the other thing that you have to miss out is if we don't get on board, states like Oregon are already selling their hemp-derived CBD to other dispensaries in other states. They're like laughing at us because you're like, hey, morons, you guys want to fight over the scraps? Great. We're going to continue to get our hemp-derived CBD products on every dispensary shelf across the country while you guys over there clash and bang heads on it, and you'll fall behind and you'll get behind in distribution. And once again, Colorado has 80,000 acres of hemp. We have 40,000 because, again, we're too big. We fight over table scraps. Open it up. Come to the table, discuss everything, get on the same page. If there has to be some compromises on testing and regulation, great. But it's all the same plant, folks. Let's do it. Let's get together. California Hemp Council, reach out. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure, especially if you have any questions about this topic. Hey, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is a liver toxicity study that's supposed to be starting pretty soon. You know, and I've read the arguments for it, you know, about why we need it. Of course, you know, the FDA, the more information they have, because there is an issue with Epidiolex, you know, the actually FDA approved, what is it, CBD isolate, correct? I think Epidiolex is the CBD isolate, but it has been shown to, you know, increase liver enzymes and cause liver damage. So now the industry seems like they want to do this whole, I don't know, get other companies together and do an actual bigger study, you know. So, I mean, what do you think about that? Is that something that needs to be shared?
Well, number one, there was never, the study was done in Arkansas, and it was this researcher that basically gave,
was it?
There's two
go
studies.
ahead, I'm sorry.
The main studies in Arkansas, the one that talked about the damage to the liver, and the damage to the liver was, number one, mice, and number two, they gave the mice enough CBD isolate to, you know, basically the same body weight of it. It would be equivalent of like us taking 10,000 milligrams of CBD. You know, we all have, you know, toxicity. Table salt, thyme, basil, water, milk has toxicity to your liver if you take too much, right? So exactly. And so anyways, it was completely blown out of proportion. It was a hit piece. It was being pushed by billionaires who want to slow down the progress of CBD and the FDA, you know. And I think there's a lot of different rules of thumb with the FDA. You know, the Commissioner Hahn, the acting commissioner of the FDA, just came out about a month ago and said it's a fool's errand to try and put CBD back in the toothpaste bottle because it's out. People have tried it. They've experienced it. If there was going to be any side effects or major issues, by this time we would have heard about it. We've been using cannabis and cannabis-related medicine for 8,000 years, dating back to Oriental medicine handbooks. So again, this is billionaires playing games, trying to keep their position on top of the mountain, pushing through social media and SEO, BS studies that the guy that wrote the article, it was a total hit piece. It was total shock jock to get clicks. And there's no legitimate science. So the article you talked about, you know, a lot of us are coming together in the CBD industry to do a bunch of you know, surveys and tests with humans who would take our products at normal doses, you know, 25 milligrams to maybe 100 milligrams a day. And in fact, it improves liver functionality. It improves kidney functionality because, again, CBD is produced in our own bodies. It's in kale, it's in broccoli, it's in breast milk, and it helps regulate our bodies, which is called homeostasis. So again, if there's people out there with buzzwords and talking heads trying to get their points, the billionaires, let them. But the proof's in the pudding, and us in the CBD industry and hemp industry understand how CBD really works. And those of all of you that are using it understand that it works. And, you know, there's CBD in kale and broccoli, and we don't see us running studies about liver stuff and tests against them either. Obviously, there's people in high positions of power that are trying to put CBD down.
So then what kind of narrative, what kind of conversation are they trying to push with this liver study? That it's dangerous?
Think about it. They want the FDA to regulate it and keep it in the pharmaceutical lane. So Epidiolex, which is 39% marijuana-derived CBD, 39% with other crap. The only side effects people ever see is from the studies they did with GW Pharma, because it was an isolate, garbage, junk, whatever stuff that they put in it, right? So they want to keep it a pharmaceutical. The FDA, right? If you're making $187 million last year, which GW Pharma made, publicly traded company, they want it that way. So you'll push any study, any SEO, anything that's going to help keep what you want, right? But it's not a pharmaceutical drug. It's a natural supplement. It's going to be a food ingredient.
So let's talk about that issue, actually, about what happens if the FDA says it is only a medicine. That means that you cannot get it other than a prescription.
They'll get sued.
But I mean, that's really what they're trying to do, it seems. And once they do that,
that's what Big Pharma is trying. Yeah.
Right. And once they do that, then we no longer have the ability, like you said, to put it in other products or even to take it as a supplement. It has to be, once it's regulated and labeled as medicine solely, that puts it in a completely different category that is, excuse me, that puts it in a completely different category where we can't just even make our own tincture, or at least take it safely. You know, it has to be under some kind of regulation.
So reach out to us and make sure it doesn't happen. Reach out to the California Hemp Council. Follow organizations like Vote Hemp. Go out and buy Doug Fine's latest book. Do something about it. But yeah, if we all sit on our hands and let the powers that be, that have all the power and the money in the pharmaceutical industry, do their thing, they're going to do it. You can reach out for public comment to the FDA. I believe still to this date, there's great organizations out there for those that are in this industry, for those that believe in the plant. Then reach out, collaborate. Let's work together. That's what California Hemp Council is all about. Let's help write these laws. Let's help inform the FDA. If the masses come together and say, we love CBD, I use CBD, here's my story, here's what it did for my family, the FDA is going to say, okay, we can't argue that. But if we don't, and we let people that have ulterior motives to try and keep it in a pharmaceutical, publicly stock traded ticker price, then that's what would happen. But it's not going to happen. There's too many of us out here that are doing fighting the good fight. Many of you out there that are trying it, so we'll be fine. It'll have a pharmaceutical lane. It'll have a natural supplement lane. It'll have a food lane. And we just have to keep being active and talking about it and having conversations like this, which is great.
Hey, dude, so let me change speed with you a little bit. So here we are, end of June, almost beginning of July. Quarantine's been going on for a couple of months since March. And now I have a plane going over. Look, there's a helicopter.
I got a fire engine truck right by me right now.
Hold on. We were recording last week at a buddy's house, and he lives close to the airport. Oh, it was a constant stop and start.
Well, we can just put some cool. We can put some cool music over that interlude. Like, hold on, for a little music break.
Yeah, there you go. So, like I was saying, man, I want to change lanes a little bit, little change speeds here. And as I was saying, you know, the quarantine's been going on. I mean, states are just barely now starting to open up. Quarantine's been going on for, I don't know, 3 months. Depends on what state you're in. You've got retail stores in 3 or 4 different states. 1, 2, 3. Dude, what is the challenge to run a retail store during the quarantine? And then on top of that, were there any specific challenges, I don't know, like for running a hemp store, a full spectrum CBD store?
How much time we got?
You tell me, man. Come on.
Well, I mean, again,
you can break this up into parts.
Yeah. So every state has its own regulations with CBD, and Colorado is really kind of been the forefront for CBD regulation. So we have to make sure that our products adhere to the state's regulation. So there's some certain label requirements that Colorado wants on their hemp-derived CBD products. So we do that. We work with Patrick, Holman Law Group, good old Bob and the crew, to make sure that all of our labels are correct. You just have to make sure that you're working with professionals that are in the loop and know what they're doing and guide you when you're going multiple states, because every state's a little bit different. But it's certainly been challenging. But you know what? The stories that we hear every day from the people that use our products give you a fuel like you can't believe, man. I can't tell you how many incredible testimonials people have given us that it's helped their lives in major ways. We're in fact doing a entire wall on a new location down here in Ventura on the beach on Seaward Avenue of just testimonials and pictures of dozens upon dozens of people that you better bring some Kleenex if you're going to read these testimonials, because it will affect you, because this plant helps our bodies find homeostasis, and we'll keep fighting the good fight, opening up in more and more states and more countries as well.
Hey, so because of the quarantine and because of the kind of business you run, were you guys able to access any of the government's funded money, any of that, what they call it, the PPP?
We have as hemp, there was some cannabis in the beginning wasn't cannabis.
Yeah, because I know cannabis had some big issues with it, and I don't know now if they're allowed to or not. But I was wondering if it was the same thing for you.
There wasn't any issue with us per se. There was some issues with hemp farmers. Then I heard they opened it up to farmers, especially for that like $10,000 real quick grant money. It's just BS, man. This is a plant just like green beans and soybeans. It's a federally legal, normal agricultural plant, and because of the stigma and because of the people that you've got or that are living in the 1930s and that just are uninformed, are slowing up the progress of American farmers that are going to be producing a plant that not only makes CBD that helps people, but we're going to be making fiber and plastics and bringing American manufacturing jobs back to our country for real. So get behind it. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution.
Hey, excuse me again. See, you know what it is? It's the cream in my coffee, bro. It gives me phlegm. Anyways, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is, okay, and again, I'm gonna change topics here. So last year, your blueberry flavor won first place. Where was it? Was it down in San Diego?
The CBD Expo West with Mace Media, Celeste Miranda's team down there in San Diego. Yep, Paradise Point.
So do you know if they're going to do like another virtual one? And if they do, are you sending in that Tropical Bliss?
Oh, yeah, we will be. So I talked to her this week, and she is still trying to – they usually put on about 5 to 7 events a year. They've had to push everything back. I think they're going to try to do one in Texas in July. She's going to do some virtual platforms. She had a ton scheduled on the West Coast. So, it's just, I don't know. I know she's embracing doing virtual. In fact, I did send in a bottle of our Tropical Bliss for her, Celeste, who runs the whole thing, to do a review and to see what her take is on that. So that'll be coming out in the next week or so, maybe in time when this podcast comes out, to see it from the one who runs the whole thing. She's going to review our product and put it on her website.
Yeah. I was wondering if you were, going to start entering that new flavor, buddy. It's pretty nice.
I think it's going to win a lot of awards, but we'll see. I love it. It's my new favorite as well. And come by, check it out. We have it on sale for a travel size for $17. Last year, a couple weeks, $1 a day.
Say that again. You kind of broke up.
Oh, $17. You can get a travel size tincture of the Tropical Bliss, the chill out, which everyone loves. Helps with the anxiety, helps with the stress, and helps get a better night's sleep is what we always hear. And
I like those palm trees in the background, buddy. So that's the new retail space. Huh? I was down there a couple of weeks ago. I went by.
We just opened.
I love that spot, man.
Just opened this month. We're right next to Social Tap, across the street from Duke's. Beach is right there, about 100 feet. And we couldn't be happier in a pig and shit, as they say.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. No, that's a great beach, man. I used to hang out a lot in that beach when I was a lot younger person.
Well, everyone, come on down. Check out the new store.
Yeah, for sure. You guys really should. Well, all right, Justin, buddy. Dude, that's all I've got to ask you today, bro. It's all it's all I was curious about.
I think we covered a lot.
Hey, we're pretty good, man. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty cool. We're gonna keep doing this as far as video shows. See how it works out.
Absolutely. And we'll get our editing down so everybody can work with us and we can look back on this show and see how far we've come. And you know, again, I'm really excited to work with you, Alex. I know that, you know, I've been sending a lot of people your direction. We send out hemp seeds to people for free, all over the country, all over the world, and you're going to do some videos about it.
Yeah, at the beginning of this, yeah, we're going to do a video about actually germinating seeds here. Hey, so when you say you send out seeds, how many seeds do you send out?
6.
And do you send out like a certification? Because I know hemp seeds got to be certified.
Nah, not for what we're doing it for. These are for people that are, you know, families that are affected by autism and things. So we just send them 6 seeds in the mail. They're totally federally legal, and you know, there's no sale. We're not selling them, but we're just excited to help people grow it in their own backyard. Most people are from California that request them. And they can grow it in their own backyard and then pick those beautiful flowers with those trichomes, toss them right into their shake in the morning, whether it's a protein shake or a carrot and kale and orange juice shake for their loved ones or children, and put in our raw CBD oil as well to help get that brain and body in balance.
Hey, so is there somewhere on your website where people can, you know, contact you about ordering seeds, or do they just email you for that?
Either email us at info@101CBD, or put it in the notes when you check out. Say, hey, I'd love to grow some hemp seeds, some hemp in my backyard, and then we'll send you some. And then go check out the podcast and check out the video that Alex teaching you how to actually grow them.
And that's 101cbd.org.
You got it.
Right on. Okay, Justin. Awesome, brother. Thank you very much.
All right.
Everybody else, I think I'm going to play some music and then I'll be back. Okay. All right, so I don't know how to end this, but do we just hit stop? Do we just keep going? Well, that was cool, man. Again, I want to thank Justin Benton for getting on the show and being part of the first video episode. That was pretty cool. I apologize if there was too much wind noise, maybe like right now. The wind is starting to pick up. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Well, brothers and sisters, check it out. That is it, man. That's all I've got to share with you. That is the end of my notes. Don't forget, if you have a question or a comment about this episode, you can send an email to inmygrow@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media. That is at InMyGrowShow. Also do me a favor. Now you can do the show a big favor. You can subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. You can leave a rating and a review there. If you could also go over to inmygrow.com, subscribe to the website, and then go over to YouTube, search for the In My Grow Show with Alex, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel. Then after you do all that subscribing, just do one other thing for us. Go ahead and tell 3 other people about the show. Real simple, real easy. Now, don't forget, if you are a cannabis company that wants to... advertise to our curated worldwide audience, send us an email. Again, that is inmygrow@gmail.com, and we can absolutely figure out the best way to do that for you. Once again, brothers and sisters, thank you very much for taking the time and watching this first video episode. I truly do appreciate it. I think this is the way we're going forward from now on. Yeah, and you know, it's just going to get better. You know, the sound and everything else, and figuring out the best way to do it, because I'm learning a whole lot again as far as like how to put together videos. So I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate you watching. So, you know, I love you all very much. And remember to always grow, learn, and teach. I'm going to get out of here now. Now I got to put music to this thing. I don't know how I'm going to do it. All right. Talk to you later.